Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to have a look at, well, some more of those Team Rocket cards. You see, we've got a new Porygon. It's actually a new Porygon-Z, but I love me some Porygon. And we got some new supporter cards, and we've got almost like the return of an old friend. So let's have a look at all of this, shall we? Starting off with the Porygon, it's got Kato artwork, which I absolutely adore. And what we got from Porygon here is you discard a card from your hand, and then your opponent discards a card from their hand. Cool. There we go. It could be fun hand disruption. Good work. And also, there's some stuff we're going to see in a minute which will help. Like, for instance, Team Rocket's Porygon2, which for free energy, which is a lot. Yes, remember, we do have that Team Rocket's energy I showed you earlier, which will do 2 of these. But then also, by the same token, it's still free energy on a pretty weak stage 1. So, you have been warned. But what we've got here is an attack that does 20 damage for each supporter card in your discard pile that has Team Rocket in its name. Okay, that sounds kind of fun, honestly. This sounds like one we can get a little bit behind. The question, of course, becomes, well, hang on a second. What have we got in terms of supporter cards with Team Rockets in the name? How many have we got? Which one do we got? Are we going to want to play them, etc.? But actually, before we get to any of that, what does Porygon-Z do? Because it seems weird to show you the basic in Stage 1, but not the Stage 2. Well, what we got here is an ability that says, once during your turn, you may discard 2 cards from your hand, and then draw a card. Which, admittedly, that kind of seems a little bit like the wrong way round. Like, think back to End Zoroark, for instance, which discards 1 card from your hand to draw 2. This discards 2 cards from your hand to draw 1. But of course, the reason why we're discarding 2 cards from our hand in order to draw 1 is because we want to have all of these Rocket supporter cards in our discard pile. That's kind of the point here. This is actually an ability which is more used for discarding the supporter cards to fuel the attack, and then drawing a card as a little bit of a bonus, rather than being primarily used to just be used as a draw engine. Oh, so you know how I told you that Porygon 2 has the attack? Yeah, Porygon-Z has literally the same attack. 20 damage for each supporter card in your discard pile with Team Rocket in its name. The crucial, and it's not even any extra damage, but there is one crucial, gigantic, huge difference, and that is that it's for 2 energy rather than 3. And using it for 2 energy rather than 3 means that you can just use it for a Rocket's energy. You just pop a Rocket's energy on here and you're off and rolling. That's the big difference. The fact that it is essentially a single energy attack. That's kind of a win. Okay, so we've got a single energy Pokemon, kind of. Well, 1 energy attachment anyway, which can do potentially huge damage and can even get the supporter cards in your discard pile. But let's say you want to get like a Rocket's Mewtwo. Well, you're going to need 14 supporter cards in the discard pile in order to do 280 damage. Which, to be fair, that is a lot. Is this going to add up fast enough? Well, let's have a look at some supporter cards we got, shall we? Starting off with what I think is going to get most people's attention, Team Rocket's Giovanni. Yes, I do think there is an excellent chance this gets a special illustration rare. And yes, I do think there's an excellent chance that people get very excited when it actually does. But what does it actually do? Well, what we've got here is first you need to switch. You need to switch one of your Rockets Pokemon for one of your benched Rockets Pokemon. But then you get to switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active. And the question with cards like this is always, well, hang on a second, who chooses? Yeah, you choose. Because the way it's literally worded is, afterwards, after you do the switching, choose one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, switch it with their active. So, it's Gusting. It's Prime Catcher, honestly. It's a supporter version of Prime Catcher, which is really weird to say, because when Prime Catcher came out, we were all like, hey, it's the item version of Guzma, and now we're saying that this is the supporter version of Prime Catcher. when really it's just Guzma. Guzma's back. Now, it's not strictly exactly the same as Guzma, because remember, Guzma was switch, and then you get to do the gusting. This is still switch, and then you get to do the gusting, but you specifically have to switch a rocket Pokemon for a rocket Pokemon. And this honestly makes a huge difference, because now all of a sudden you've got this really good gusting card, and Guzma was great, which can only be used by Team Rocket's Pokemon. You can still go and use 4 Boss's Orders in the same way that, any other deck can. But now you can also go ahead and use this. You can have more than 4 Boss's Orders if you want. Or you can have Boss's Orders that also works as a switch, which I know a lot of people want back at this stage. And this is actually kind of brilliant. Switching is useful. Gusting is one of the best effects in the game. This is a supporter card that a lot of people are going to absolutely love. Cool. So there's one very useful supporter. What else have we got? Well, we've got Team Rocket's Ariana. Although it's the Japanese version of the card we've got this morning, which is literally Team Rocket's Athena, which is a way better name. Why do we get a rubbish name? Either way, what you do is you draw until you have 5 cards in your hand. That's an alright supporter card. But if all of your Pokemon in play are Team Rocket's Pokemon, you draw until you've got 8 cards in your hand instead. And remember the ability which I showed you on Porygon a moment ago, which lets you discard 2 to draw 1. Which means you end up with -1 in hand, which actually makes this supporter card a lot better. The supporter cards that are draw until you have get significantly stronger if you can empty out your hand first. Well, this can. And that's actually kind of brilliant. This is a really good draw card. Now, you need to have all Rocket's Pokemon, which is obviously, not ideal. But you know what? You kind of need to be playing mostly Rockets or something like Mewtwo anyway. It kind of might be worth it. Also, if we compare this to, other cards, I think the nearest we've got lately is maybe Grusha, that draws until you have 5 cards in your hand, but if none of your Pokemon have any energy attached, you get to draw until you have 7 cards in your hand. And Grusha sees, no play, because in what world are you going to play a supporter card that makes you basically leave a bench with no energy and active with no energy? That just seems weird, right? Well, this is an extra card, and it's way easier to use. So look, these Rocket supporter cards, there's one more I'm going to show you in a minute, but basically they're good. They are very strong. But they're forcing you to play a Team Rocket's deck. And if you're happy doing that, you are going to have access to some very good supporters. There is one more, which is Team Rocket's Apollo. Sorry, Team Rocket's Archer. Really? Really? How come Japan gets such cool names on these and we don't? I'm actually not a fan of this. This makes me genuinely sad. But what we've got for Team Rocket's Apollo is you can only use this card if one of your Team Rocket's Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's last turn. Each player shuffles a hand into their deck. You draw 5. Your opponent draws 3. Oh. Yeah, that's really good. That's really very, very good. It means that you can always put your opponent down to a 3-card hand, as long as they've taken a KO. This is just a slightly worse version of Ace Trainer, and it is a worse version of Ace Trainer. Ace Trainer gets you 6, your opponent 3. This gets you 5, your opponent 3. The thing is, Ace Trainer only worked if you were behind on prizes. This works if you had a Pokemon KO'd the previous turn. So you can actually be ahead on prizes and still use this. Which again, I think is pretty gosh darned relevant. There is a lot here that I'm getting a bit excited about. All 3 of these supporter cards seem to be incredibly strong, but they're only really available if you're playing a Team Rocket's deck. Honestly, what we really need here is a nice way to be able to get the right supporter card at the right time. Oh, wait, no, sorry, we got Team Rocket's Receiver. Search your deck for a supporter card with Team Rockets in its name, reveal it, and put it into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. We don't have good supporter search a lot of the time for pretty obvious reasons. It would generally be a little bit too powerful. And this only gets you one, but again, like a card we've seen over and over again, Random Receiver. Random Receiver lets you reveal cards from the top of your deck until you reveal a supporter card, and then pop it into your hand. But you might not get the right one. It's why it's called Random Receiver. And yet here, you can just go and search for the right one, and it has to be a Rockets card, admittedly. But we've basically got good draw, good disruption, and we've got gusting. You know, we've actually got a similar version of this with Cool Bell right now. But the thing with Cool Bell is, and you can search for any supporter card, but you can only use it on your first turn, and only if you go second. And this is an equivalent of that for Rocket cards. Like, these are clearly overpowered. These are clearly much better than the equivalent cards for non-Rocket decks, but they are really pushing you to specifically play only Team Rocket decks. By the way, to go back to that Porygon question from earlier, right now we have 3 different supporters, each of which you can play 4 copies of. That gives you 12 in total, which means if you get all 4 of all 3 of them in the discard pile, then Porygon is hitting a max of 240 damage. So Porygon's not actually doing huge damage. It's going to be good for taking out other single prizes. It's never going to hit for weakness being colorless, and the damage cap is lower than we'd like, so it's never actually going to be good for taking out multiple prize Pokemon, which is a little bit sad. But then, by the same token, it's still got that really nice ability, so I think we can allow it. There is a lot to get excited about with Team Rocket's Pokemon. I've already shown you the Mewtwo and the Persian earlier. Now we've got these new supporter cards, plus we've got an item card to go and search out those supporter cards. Plus, we've got Porygon as a nice little bit of an engine. Plus, we've got that Rocket's energy. And I'm just saying, there is a lot here about which we can get very excited. But I want to know how excited you are. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Get us! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.